Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Wednesday, the 5th day of February 2025, Wednesday of the 4th week of the year, the 4th week in Ordinary Time. It is also a day in which we honor St. Agatha. Coming to you, though, from a very different place today. Behind me is the Church of St. Raphael, which is also in North Raleigh. It is from this church that the beginnings of St. Francis of Assisi Parish was established. And why am I here? Well, because their school here at St. Raphael is 30 years old this year, and so Bishop came to do Mass with the student body here in the faculty at St. Raphael. So he'll be doing that on the 19th of February at St. Francis with TFS. So just celebrating a connectedness here as we celebrate Catholic education and the many years in which it has been in existence here in the Diocese of Raleigh. Going back, so today we honor the memory also of Saint Agatha, a martyr, a virgin martyr from, most of them are sometimes, but from the 3rd century, about the mid 200s. Again, she lived. Her claim to fame, she's from Sicily, so Catania, basically, and she rejected the advances of a certain prefect, a Roman prefect in that time, called Quintianus. And Quintianus was very strident in trying to get her to love him and become his wife, etc., etc. But like her faith was not allowing her to do this, and she made this vow of virginity. Now, that's always kind of like, how common were vows of virginity, or how common even was being a virgin, in the Greco-Roman world of Agatha's time, or again, antiquity, late antiquity. I mean, there were Vestal virgins, sure, but aside from them, was virginity a pursuit for other kinds of peoples or other kinds of faith traditions that existed? It doesn't always seem as great as it becomes in Christianity, but you always have this kind of sense that if you didn't want to marry somebody, you profess yourself to be a virgin or something like that. I don't know. But Agatha was someone who, I guess, did embrace this and does not want anything to do with Quintianus. He gets angry, and so he proceeds to torture her, because that's what you did if you didn't get what your way was, in many different kinds of ways. And one of them was the cutting off of her breasts, which is why Agatha is the patron saint of those who suffer with breast cancer. She survived that, and they tried to burn her at a stake, but then there was an earthquake that disrupted everything, and then St. Peter comes to save her, and she eventually, I believe, dies in prison. So she doesn't die a bloody death, but she had bloody experiences, in her life that were, horrific, and so she gets linked to the martyrs. Again, patron saint of Sicily, a patron saint of Catania in Sicily, and so again, to remember her, I guess, her fortitude in saying that she was a believer and that she was not going to let things get in the way of that belief, even if it would have seemed profitable and fortuitous for anybody to marry into the family of a prefect of the Roman Empire. She decides that there is more in being a part of the life of Christ. So honoring her today, and there would be special readings if you want to really honor her, but her readings for today, Hebrews continues again. So here we have an interesting kind of way in which the passage from today picks up from yesterday's passage, in which the writer to the Hebrews basically says, you have not suffered to the point of shedding blood. But then it seems as though, I guess, that the suffering was getting to people, and that they were like, is it worth it to be a believer if you're going to face opposition or ridicule or gossip or all kinds of things that that make life difficult? And the writer to the Hebrews, explains to them the need for perseverance, the need for not giving up, the need for knowing that again that you don't suffer in silence, you don't suffer alone, that you attach your sufferings to Christ's suffering, and again, because he was able to still trust and to persevere within it. Again, this is the reward of becoming, a seat at the right hand of God. And so it is this kind of sense in which, do we expect faith to work magic in our lives, or do we expect that once we say that we will believe, that there's nothing but a way of gold, in front of us, paved with gold, and a red carpet placed in front of us? And that's not always the case, because again, believing is different different than the world understands belief, and believing is different than what the world embraces as success and fortune and value in human life. And it will be met many times with sidelong looks and a lot of skepticism and perhaps ridicule and maybe even worse. But we don't give up, because we know that this reality and truth that faith is for us is built upon something more than just human desires and human dreams and human wishes. In Mark's gospel, we have this great experience now where after the Pharisees have given Jesus trouble, now his own townspeople give him trouble. And basically they begin to become envious and jealous, I guess, of his popularity or what he's able to do. And so isn't he the son of the carpenter? Didn't he grow up with us? Isn't this Jesus? What makes him different? What makes him special? And because of the opposition from his own townspeople, his own kinfolk perhaps, and things like that, he's unable to do anything. Faith is not able to work, because the people refuse to see him as the more that he is, or as anything that they have thought of him being in the first place. Again, how prejudice, jealousy and envy can cloud our minds and our hearts to the wonder and the beauty of God working within us. We can never, ever let that happen, because if we do, we lose out. If we do, we short circuit, the wonder and the beauty that God wants to give to our lives. A blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.